Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. Dear respected Te, dear brothers, sisters, and dear community, today is Sunday, 30th of April, 2023, and it is also a day of mindfulness like usual. Today's topic I would like to share is the ego, the self in Buddhism, and true merit. Before going to the sharing, I would just like to wish the whole Sangha, our brothers, sisters, all of our lay friends coming from far away, to have a lot of health, have a lot of attainment in their practice, and a lot of good health. In the time of the Buddha, when he was still alive, there was a beggar, an old lady beggar, and each day she could only earn about just 2 coins, a very small amount of money, only enough to feed her, to keep her alive for one day. When she heard that the Buddha's community, that they needed oil, they need oil to light their lamps at night, she decided to skip, to fast for one day, to use those 2 coins to buy lamp oil and offer that to the Buddha Sangha. And after she passed away, when she died, she was reincarnated into a queen. And because of a certain condition, she remembered her previous life, offering that to the Sangha. And after she passed away, and she was reincarnated into a queen. This is. Something is happening. Technical difficulties. What's going on? Oh, technical difficulties. And somehow she remembered her past life. She was a beggar, and then she took this story to tell the emperor and asked the emperor to let her have a storage full of gold, so that she can use that gold to offer. And at that time, in the palace, the emperor had in total about 10 safes that were storing gold, and so he accepted her request. And she thought maybe offering such amount of gold, she would have a lot of merit, limitless merit, and she thought that she would be born in the heavenly realms to live a long life, to have a happy life, a very easeful and easy life. And we know that in the sutras, in the highest heavenly realms, where there is no consciousness or no non-consciousness, and beings in this realm, they live for billions and billions of years, not like in our realm. was only about 100 years. And so she thought that she would be born into these heavenly realms so that she can have a long lifespan and have a lot of happiness, ease, and so she came to a Zen master and she asked this matter and checked in with him to see if this is correct. And he said that no, this is not. It's not like what you think. Your merit right now is only one in about a millionth of a merit. And she said, "Why? That's strange." Then he said that your merit that you have is because it's born from your mind. It's not from your money or your materials that you offer. Before, when you offered, even though it was only 2 coins, but you had to fast for 1 day. At that time, your mind was fast, and you didn't calculate you didn't know that later you would become queen, and so your offering at that time was unconditional. There was no condition. And now, on the contrary, your condition now is that even though you have a storage full of gold, you still have you're not starved even a day. You still eat a lot of good food, luxurious food. You still have 9 gold storages left, and you even thought about being born in the heavenly realms, to live long, to be happy, to be easeful. So clearly, your offering now has calculation, personal calculation in it, and it is conditional. And so your merit now cannot be compared with the merits in the past that you had. So, the community, is there any one of us here who wants to become a queen? Of course, in our time now, we don't have queens, we don't have emperors or kings, we don't have princess, we don't have a prince. But we still have someone who has a position, similar position to that of a queen. For example, models, top models of the world, they must have a lot of merits, a lot of luck, good conditions to become the world top models. So do you want to become queen, or do you want to be the world top models? Then if you do, then you can practice the way that the old beggar practiced. I invite everyone to listen to one sound of the bell. You can breathe in, breathe out, recognize that we are still alive, that we are sitting with our friends here and now. We know that the essence of Buddhist teaching, or the foundation of Buddhist teaching, is the wisdom of non-self, the teaching on non-self. But after a while, It's like after a while, meaning since the time that the Buddha was born as a prince to now is about 2,600 years. And this teaching has become a teaching of self and merit wishing. Merit wishing and a teaching about a self. It has come from a place of non-self to a place of self, and that is unfortunate. People grasp onto things that are called merit to hope to prolong their sense of self, to prolong their existence of a self, hoping that their next lives, their life will be flourishing, that they will be happy, more wealthy, more comfortable, more easeful, and become more happy. And so this is the cycle. This is a cycle, or samsara. There's a self. It's a separate entity wanting to be reborn in a condition with more material luxuries, with more material conditions. This is a cycle. This is samsara. In other words, people don't accept the wisdom of non-self, so that they can practice to get out of their cycles of birth and death. And so, as humans, we still wander in the cycles of birth and death, of suffering, of pain. We still wander in the three realms and the six paths. Three realms, meaning the realm of desire, the realm of form, and the realm of non-form. Six paths of suffering, meaning the hell realms, or hungry ghosts, atula, humans, and gods. So those are the six paths of suffering and the three realms. But that doesn't mean that we reject the action of merits or charitable actions. These are very treasure. These are very precious. The thing is that really the ultimate goal of a practitioner? Or is it just a supportive condition, a good condition for a practitioner on the path to succeed in the path of holiness? And so we know that in the tradition of meditation, the greatest goal of a practitioner, the greatest fruit of a practitioner is to see clearly. And so in the meditation lineage, there is a sentence say that seeing clearly to become the Buddhas. Kiến is seeing. And tánh is the true nature of ourselves. Our true self, true nature. There are so many nouns, there are so many words that we can call it. You can call Buddha nature, the true nature of ourselves. There was one day I heard a neighbor. I heard a neighbor said something like this. My nature is like that. My personality is like that. When I walk with the Buddha, then I put on the Sangati robe. But if I walk with the ghosts, then I put on my paper robe. A robe made out of paper. That is my nature. That is my personality. What that means is that my nature is like that. If you are kind, I'll be kind back. But if you are unkind, I'll be unkind back. That is my nature. And so here it's not the true nature that we have, because there's still discrimination between wholesomeness and unwholesomeness, evil and good in that nature. As long as there is still discrimination in it, then that nature is not our true nature. Even though that discrimination is wholesome, is honest, is good, but that is still not our true nature anymore. The root of suffering, of war, it's in this very discrimination. It lies in this discrimination. It's not in whether or not there is peace, then there is no war. Then there's no, so that there's no more war, there's no more suffering. But if we still talk about peace, then there is still war. So if we look back from the time when we open our eyes, born into this life, up to this point, is there any given time that this world was peaceful? If there's no war in this country, then there is war in that country. And war will just be prolonged. Then there's no wish for peace. Because we see that. They are so evil. They are wrong. They are not right. They are wrong. And so I have to declare war on them. And war starts here. Starts from this discrimination. Peace in our mind, and peace in the world. Or peace in oneself, peace in the world. Peace here, or actually it's equanimity. The mind of equanimity is the mind of non-discrimination. There's no more discrimination between right and wrong, between good and evil, between wholesome and unwholesome. In the sutras, the Buddha said something like this, a sentence like this. If there is someone who chopped off my arm, and another one take care and mend my take care of my wounds. So for the two of them, I would treat them equally. There's no one who is my friend, and there's no one who is my enemy. Our enemy is not men. It's not humans. Our enemies are ignorance or delusion. Delusion is wrong perception, wrong view about ourselves and about the world. This world is not like what we see. But we keep thinking that it is real. This form, this body, is not us. But we still think that it is truly ours. It is truly us. The object of consciousness is the things that are happening around us. So the object of our consciousness is not even like what we see, but we still think that they are real. We are caught in the forms of things. We cannot see clearly the true nature of all things. And so that is why we have discrimination. The truth is that the true nature of the universe, the cosmos, the true nature of everything is empty. It's emptiness. Its nature is emptiness. True emptiness. Sariputra, this body is empty. And this body is emptiness. Sariputra, all phenomena are empty. This is a verse from a sutra. So the noun phenomena here means all things. So our body is also a phenomenon or a Dharma. Our thinking is a Dharma. Sariputra, this body is emptiness. Sariputra, all phenomena are empty. This kind of emptiness in Buddhism, emptiness is not the kind of emptiness as opposed to it's not like being or non-being, or there is or there is not. Emptiness is in Buddhism is the emptiness of you. You is wonder. It's the emptiness of wonderful existence, or the brajna, the emptiness of brajna, or brajna is wisdom. So the wisdom of emptiness. So emptiness here means the wonder of existence, or the existence of wisdom. So in Deer Park, we have a vegetable, a wild vegetable called the stingy nettles. And so the brothers and sisters, we collect them. In the summer, we don't see them. But we cannot say that it doesn't exist, that they don't exist. There's only if we have enough conditions, then they will manifest. If we have enough conditions, the cold weather and humid, then the stingy nettles will manifest. Or in the nights that there's no moon, there's no stars, and we cannot see the moon, we cannot see the stars, then we cannot say that stars and moon are not there. They are there, but we need the conditions, like no clouds and that obstructs the sky, then the moon and the stars will appear. The Buddha, even the reason why he was free is because he was able to see clearly the true nature of the cosmos, meaning the true nature of all things is empty. And therefore, he wasn't stuck into the form of phenomena. One example he used, the one who chopped up his arm, or the one who was taking care of his wound are equal. Both of those two don't have a separate self. Yes. The Buddha, he knew that this is wholesome and that is unwholesome. There's still a certain discrimination or recognition that this is Mahakassapa, this is Sariputra, or that is Ananda.
Đây là thầy Phú Lâu Na,
Or
kia là thầy Tu Bồ Đề.
that is
Nhưng mà Đức Thế Tôn ngài không có bị kẹt
Sabuti.
các cái hình tượng
So he
của
was
thầy đó.
able to tell his disciples from one another, but he wasn't stuck in their forms.
Sự thật là
So
cái thực tướng
the truth is the true nature of good and evil
chân không.
is
Cái
emptiness.
thực tướng của các thầy đó cũng đều
The
là
true nature
chân
of
không.
all of these disciples
Không có một cái ngã
that
riêng
were
biệt,
mentioned
không có một
are
cái
empty.
ta
There's
riêng
no
biệt.
separate self.
Thực tướng của các pháp cũng vậy.
The true nature of all phenomena is the same.
Cũng đều là không.
It's all
Đều
emptiness,
là chân không.
true emptiness.
Này xá lợi tử, hình hài này là
Sariputra, this body is emptiness. Sariputra,
mọi hiện tượng
all phenomena
đều không.
are empty.
Trong cái bài kệ
In
hộ
the
khi mà mình ngồi thiền vào buổi chiều,
chanting, the evening,
nó có cái câu là
there is a sentence,
ba nghiệp lắng rồi.
the three dharmas, or body, speech, and mind,
Lắng rồi.
has already settled. There's no more thoughts of right and wrong.
Là phải
So our practice has to go beyond the discrimination. Yeah, there's no more thought of right and wrong.
There is no more talk of right and wrong. Sự thực là cái thực tại nó siêu
The
việt.
truth is reality is
Tất cả các cái cặp
is beyond all the pairs, all
chống đối nhau, đối nghịch nhau.
pairs of
Như
opposite,
là có không,
the ideas
sinh diệt,
that of the pairs of opposite, like being and non-being, right and wrong, evil and good, and so on.
và ác. Đừng nghĩ đến thiện.
So about good and evil, don't think about good, don't think about
Chính
evil.
lúc đó mới hiện
In that
rõ ra
moment,
được
then
cái
the
bản lai diện mục của
true nature of ourselves
chính ngay lúc
appear.
đó
In that
mới
moment,
hiện rõ ra được
then
cái Phật tánh của
the
mình,
Buddha's nature in us will appear,
chân thật của mình.
our true nature.
Đây
This
là lời
is the opening verse,
Lục Tổ Huệ Năng
the
ở
teaching
trong
from
Pháp Bảo Đẳng Kinh.
the sixth patriarch in
Như vậy,
Dharma
cái
Jewel
mục đích tối hậu của người
Sutra.
tu là người hành giả phải kiến tánh.
So
Nghĩa là người hành
the goal
giả
of
phải
a
thấy được cái
practitioner
của mình.
is that we need to see our true nature and practice to live with it
Trong từng giây phút
in every
của đời
moment
sống hàng ngày,
in our daily life,
để người hành giả
so that
có thể
the
thể nhập
practitioner
với nó.
can be one with it.
Tiếng Anh là
Thể nhập,
penetrating.
penetrating,
Thể nhập nghĩa là người hành giả
meaning the
với
practitioner
với cái Phật tánh đó
with
là
that
một.
Buddha nature are one.
Ở trong nhà Phật
In
nó có cái
Buddhism,
câu là
in Buddhist teaching,
nhất thiết
there is a sentence said nhất thiết chúng sinh.
giai hữu Phật tánh. Nhất thiết chúng sinh giai hữu Phật tánh. Tất cả chúng sinh
Meaning
đều có
all
Phật tánh
beings have their Buddha's
Nói
nature.
như vậy thì mình đâu có cần
So does that mean that we don't have to chant, to wish for the Buddha outside anymore?
ở ngay nơi cái tự
So
tâm của mình.
that means that we just need to return to the Buddha inside ourselves.
Mà Phật tánh là cái gì?
So what is Buddha nature?
Phật tánh là cái gì mới được chứ?
What is Buddha nature?
Nó ở đâu?
Where is it?
Nó ở trong cái sắc
It
thân
is
của mình
in our
hay là nó ở
form?
ngoài?
Or is it outside of our form? And
Và mình có thể
we can
mình có thể tìm thấy nó được hay không?
can we find it?
Thành đây mới là vấn đề quan
So
trọng.
this is the important thing as a practitioner.
Đây mới là vấn đề
This is
sinh tử
the
của người tu.
the matter,
Người
the most
hành giả,
important matter
người hành
of
giả
a
cần
practitioner that we need to do. We need to look deeply,
khám phá.
contemplate, and discover, and
Tất
explore.
cả các cái pháp môn
all the teachings, all the Dharma doors are the means to help us discover our Buddha's nature. And to see that when we see our Buddha's nature, then we have the hope to get out of the cycle of birth and death, of suffering. I invite everyone to listen to one sound of the bell. Among us, have many really practice in terms of merit. Not many of us has that many merits. That's much merit as, say, the emperor of in the past. But when he came to see Bodhidharma, Bodhidharma said to him that your merits, such as building more than 72 temples, all of the things that you do, like building over 72 temples, offering all the material needs for shelter, for food, for over 3,000 monastics. All of your actions is the merit that is still in the human realm. Which means that if you use it, you enjoy it, it would run out eventually. There's a form, but it doesn't really exist. So what is true merit? That's what the emperor asked Bodhidharma. And the patriarch Bodhidharma said, Thể is the true nature. Its true nature is ease or empty. Emptiness here doesn't mean like it's like a rock. So thể từ không lặng is knowing clearly, seeing clearly. So basically, what the Bodhidharma was saying to the emperor was that the true merit is our wisdom. The wisdom is wisdom. In the Sutra of the 8 Realizations of the Great Beings, there is a sentence, meaning thanks to that the only career of a practitioner is wisdom. It's not the career of building 72 temples like the emperor did. So this is a wrong view that the emperor had. And so in in a practitioner, the true merit is wisdom. So Huệ Năng was a patriarch, and he didn't have any kind of certificates or degrees, like a doctorate degree or a master degree. He didn't have even a bachelor degree or even a certificate graduating in 12th grade. But there was thousands and thousands of people came to him to practice, to learn, because he had wisdom. He had wisdom. That wisdom that we are able to have is not because of our researches or studies, but it is thanks to our practice, our contemplation. Văn tư tu is to study, to contemplate, and to practice. Vang is to listen, to hear the teachings of our teachers, of the Buddhas. And Tu is to think about, or to look deeply, to contemplate, so that we have the right understanding, so that we have the right view. And Tu is to practice, so that we don't practice in the wrong path, in the wrong way, just like the emperor that I mentioned. And it is thanks to this wisdom that it helps us to see the true nature. For the emperor, towards the end of his life, it was very very difficult, very pity. He was surrounded by his enemies on the mountain. He was starved and he was thirsty up in the mountain. And eventually he was killed by his enemies. Yeah, he was surrounded and killed. So clearly, the merits cannot save us. If we use our observation eyes, we see that there are many billionaires. So these are ones who have a lot of merits. But there are still those who suffer. There are still those who took their own lives. And so that merit cannot save us. Now we return to the previous matter that we haven't discussed entirely. This matter is very important. It relates to birth and death. It relates to our life. So we need to resolve this first, and then we can go on. So what is Buddha's nature? Buddha's nature is birthless. It's deathless. It's the no birth and no death. This answer still has discrimination in it. There's still discrimination between birth and no birth, between birth and death, and no birth, no death. In reality, enlightenment or nirvana and birth and death are not two separate entities. So the truth is, if there is still discrimination in it, then it is no longer Buddha nature. In the past, there was a monastic. He asked the Lâm Tế, her Zen master, Vô vị chân nhân,
Nó cũng có nghĩa là Phật tánh. Nhưng ở đây Tổ không có dùng.
So he was asking about Buddha's nature, but the patriarch didn't use the word Buddha nature anymore because he saw that they were stuck in this terminology in their own thinking, and so he used a different word. So the word that he used, vô vị chân nhân.
Bạch thiền sư, vô vị chân nhân là cái gì?
So that monk asked him, what does that mean? Vô vị chân nhân, I don't know how to translate that. And the patriarch held his hand and he asked in return, what is that? What does that mean? Tell me, what does that mean? And so he cannot answer.
Và tổ mới nói, vô vị chân nhân là cái cục cứt khô gì mà thầy hỏi?
And then, in reply, he said, vô vị chân nhân is a dry piece of excrement. Why do you ask that question?
Phật tánh là cái cục cứt khô gì mà thầy hỏi?
So that he said, what is Buddha nature? Buddha nature is a dry pile of excrement.
Tổ Lâm Tế đã trả lời cho mình quá rõ ràng và đầy đủ.
Why do you ask what it is?
Mình có hiểu được không?
So that's a very clear answer. Can we understand what he said?
Liệu mình có phải là cái ông thầy tu mà vừa hỏi tổ đó không?
Like, are we the monk who just asked the patriarch?
Chúng ta hãy chiêm nghiệm về vấn đề này. Vì đây là vấn đề của tuệ giác.
We need to contemplate on this matter because this is the matter of wisdom. This is a matter of the most important career in our life. If we don't understand, then if we do sitting meditation, or we practice chanting, or we practice reciting the names of the Buddhas, it's still good. But it doesn't give us a result that the Buddha was expecting. It doesn't lead us to the place where the Buddha wanted. And so these are the koans, these are verses, so that we can look deeply, we can contemplate, we can explore our true nature. So the question here, another question is, where is Buddha's nature? Is it inside or is it outside our body, our form? So the truth is, it's not inside or outside. It's neither inside or outside our body. So the last question is, can we find Buddha nature? Previously, we talked about a famous verse, Kiến tánh thành Phật, meaning seeing the Buddha nature, then we become the Buddha. Is that right? So, can we find Buddha nature? Speaking to this point, I remember a story in the meditation lineage. Thần Quang is a monastic, has a lot of knowledge, a lot of researches, but in his mind, usually he felt unsettling. He didn't know that he was practicing correctly or not. He was wondering if he was practicing in accord with the teachings or not. So one day he came to the patriarch Bodhidharma and he asked the patriarch, "Dear respected teacher, my mind feels unsettled. Please offer me teachings to ease my mind." And so then Bodhidharma said, "You You use your mind. You take your mind here, then I can eat it for you. And then Thằng Quang was the monk. He was like, I cannot find my mind. I cannot find my mind. And then the patriarch, he said, so I have eased your mind. And then right there, the monk was enlightened. He understood what Bodhidharma meant, and was given the seal by the patriarch, the second Zen master, the second patriarch, and changed his name to Huệ Khả. And so the word mind here can also mean Buddha nature. I cannot find my Buddha nature. If we see our Buddha nature, then it's no longer our Buddha nature. It's no longer our true nature. In Buddhism, there's a lot of contradictory sayings like this. And it is thanks to these contradictions that the true teaching is never faded, never eroded away because of time. Contradiction here is the contradiction to our normal views, our normal way of thinking. Because the reality is not contradictory. If we look at reality with our wisdom, so being is actually non-being. Form and non-form are the same. We let go of everything so we can have everything. If we want to have everything, then we got to let go of everything. So all of these are very contradictory verses. And when we listen just briefly, it's like a duck listening to a thunderstorm, thunder. They don't understand anything. And so if we listen to it and we understand immediately, then you have already practiced in many lifetimes. And if we don't practice and we listen to it and we understand, then that means that then we can just fold our legs and sit upright for people to prostrate in front of us. In our daily lives, if we are so busy for the whole of our life, for the whole of our day, we are busy for the entire life. We don't have time to sit still, to listen to our breath, sit still to contemplate, to listen to our Buddha's nature. Then there's no way that we can understand these teachings, these sayings. And there's no way that we have the chance to explore, to discover the wonders in ourselves. It's like all wonderful dharmas, all wonderful phenomena around us. When we know how to sit and meditate, to sitting meditation, breathe in mindfulness, walk in mindfulness, eat in mindfulness, and live in mindfulness in every second, in every moment of our life, then we already have a chance to be in touch with our Buddha nature, our true nature. In Buddhism, we have a lot of sufferings is because there are sufferings that drive us crazy, drive us insane, making us jumping place to place. It is because of our wrong views, wrong perceptions about ourselves. Because we see that we are separate selves. We are separate entities. Buddhism calls that it's being stuck in the ego, being stuck in a separate self, a self that belongs to us. And we can only be us and us alone. We are separate, completely separate from the other people, from other people. We don't have any connection. We don't have any relationship to the other person. And we are not connected to any kind of other beings, like minerals, the soil, plants, and animals. Under the insight of meditation, we see that we are not just us, ourselves. If we know how to look deeply, know how to contemplate our bread in our hands, it is the form of the whole cosmos. If we know how to look deeply like that, then our body is the same. If we look at ourselves very deeply and we see that we have everything, the whole cosmos is in ourselves. All of the beings, plants, animals, vegetables, they're nourished by the earth, by the soil, water, the clouds, the sun, and the air. Space as well. And those in turn nourish us, keep us alive. So if we look at us carefully, deeply, and we see that they are also present in us. If we look at ourselves and we see there is the fragrance, the fragrance of the earth, the taste of water. If we look at ourselves and we see that there is clean air, there's the warmth of fire. If we just lack that warmth, then we might die from cold. And fire is like the warmth that keep us keep our body warm. So if you look at ourselves, we see that there is a worker in the clothes that we are wearing. We see the farmers in our bread that we are eating. And space is also in us. If there's no space in our body, then all of our vessels cannot circulate blood. Air cannot come in and out. So just try close our mouth and then close our nose, squeeze our nose. Then there's no more space. Then we will certainly die because we cannot breathe anymore. And so emptiness, space, is also in us. So if we look at our selves carefully, then we see that there are cells that are passed down to us by our ancestors, by our parents. And if we look at ourselves, we see our spiritual and blood ancestors. We see the generations of our descendants. And our ancestors are also the minerals, the plants, the animals. We see that there is a whole cosmos in our form, in our body. Our mind is the same. Our mind our mind also covers the whole universe, the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars. The moon and the stars are also from our consciousness. The sun is also our consciousness. The earth is also our consciousness. In Buddhism, all of us has a constant a mind that is that is constantly there, that can embrace the whole universe. and there's no separate self, and that is the mind of wisdom, or the mind of equanimity, the true mind, or Buddha nature. If we contemplate, if we look deeply, then there's no separate self. In other words, we are not really we. That is why we are truly us. Meaning, when we look at ourselves, we see the non-self elements. We see the formless in the form. So when we have the view of formlessness, then our suffering will be greatly alleviated. In the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha said to Subhuti, he said that, "Dear Subhuti, when there is still form, there is still trickery. If we see the true formlessness in the form, then we see the Tathagata."
The Buddha said to Subhuti, in a place where there is something that can be distinguished by size, in that place there is deception. If you can see the sizeless nature of size, you can see the Tathagata.
And so seeing the Tathagata here doesn't mean that the Tathagata is the Buddha manifesting in his form, so that we can see, we can praise, we can bow, we can come to wish for things. But seeing the Tathagata here means seeing the true nature of ourselves, our Buddha nature. I see now it's 11:15 already, so maybe I'll ask to stop here, because time is precious. So I don't want to take too much time. Master Linji has said that time is precious, life is impermanent. The great four elements, earth, water, space, and fire, is pushing us. So I need to stop. I like to stop here. So thank you, dear brothers, sisters, dear all siblings.